YouTube is Stop Dripriding back with another reaction. So today we're gonna be reacting to PS5 versus Xbox Series X. Everything to know, specs, price, and exclusive games. First of all, I'm getting PS5. That's not even a question. I'm not getting a mini fridge, bro. Like, what do I look like playing on a mini fridge, bro? A PS5, I know. I said y'all be saying it look like a Wi-Fi router, bro. I'd rather a Wi-Fi router over a mini fridge, bro. And bro, I'm not getting an Xbox. Never in my life I would ever get an Xbox. And when the PS6 comes out, it's gonna look better than Xbox, whatever it's gonna be. So yeah, I'm saying that PS5. I'm getting a PS5, no cap. And if you have an Xbox, suck my dick. It's simple as that. Come on, look at that, and look at the mini fridge. Like, do you not feel a difference? Beautiful, beautiful. PS5, you was on your I'm not gonna lie.
PlayStation versus Xbox.
PS5 is fire, no cap. PS5 has no cap. Bro,
Well, that's enough of that dramatic
so
intro. Well, I've
fire,
actually
bro,
got a really great video for you guys
PS5.
today, going over all the
Rockstar
specifications,
talking
all
about
the unique titles for
expanded
each
and
console,
enhanced for
the
GTA
price of
5.
each
Like, bro,
console, and
this
lots
game been
more.
out for
So you guys
7
can
years,
get a
bro.
rough
7
idea
years,
on
bro.
which
Game been
one
out for
you
7 years.
prefer
They
and
talking
why
about
you
expanding
prefer
the
that
game.
console.
Like, bro,
So
we
the
want to see
first
GTA
main
6,
point
bro.
I want to talk
Like,
about, because a
you
lot
would
of these
make so
spec
much
videos are
money
already
because it's
out there,
really,
I
to be
want to
honest, that's
actually
all they
talk
care
about the
about, money.
looks of the
You would make so much
consoles.
money
So
of
we've
GTA
got
6 with
obviously the
Rockstar. If you're not
PlayStation
dropping it,
5
suck my
with
dick,
this
nigga. Suck my dick, suck
crazy
my dick.
white
Simple as
spire
that.
design, as I like to call it, and then we've got the Xbox Series X, which just generally
Fucking
is
dirt.
an Xbox. It's just a box
It's just a
with kind of
box.
like an indent that
Facts,
goes
bro.
downwards on the top and the bottom. So that's a really nice feature, and I wanted to kind of talk about which one of these looks the best in my opinion to start with, because that's the first thing you see when you see these two consoles. Now, the PlayStation itself has that amazing kind of white design, which actually is going to be covering
I'm
up
getting
a
a
lot of the
PS5. I'm not
fans,
even gonna say
which is
lie.
really, really nice. You won't actually see where the fans are, whereas on the Xbox, they are exposed on the
Look at
top,
the
and you
fridge.
can kind
Look
of
at the
see
mini
them.
fridge, bro.
But the
Who
PlayStation
is getting
itself,
that?
in my
Who
opinion,
is
with the
getting
disc
that? If I
drive,
see,
doesn't
if
look
I
as
see
good
one of my
with the
niggas with,
PlayStation
like, one of my
without. So there's
friends with that,
two
bro,
versions
you're
of it.
getting
And for
surpassed,
those
like, on
wondering,
some real
yes,
shit,
you
bro.
can
Like,
lie
get the
down the
PS5,
PlayStation.
like,
It doesn't have
no
to
cap.
be
And I've been
a
seeing,
straight up
oh,
tower
y'all
if
been
you
making
haven't got
excuses like you're
room
not
for
gonna
it.
get it
Because
because it's
that is a
ugly, bro.
general
Like, we
concern as well.
understand
When
you,
you
bro.
buy a
Like, I
console, you
clearly
need to know
understand that shit,
roughly
bro.
how much room
You
you've
don't
got in
gotta
the
make
area. Can you
excuses
fit
up.
the
Like,
console
look
in the
fire.
area, or are you going to have to put it
And
on
I
the
remember the
floor
days
or
like you
somewhere
used to have to
away
put
from
the
the actual
disc in the game,
TV
but
that
that
you're
was
going to
so
be playing
annoying.
the
But now you
console
could
on
just
or
download
monitor? So that's something to
2K, for
consider. The
instance,
Xbox definitely seems a little bit
digital. You know what I'm saying? So
smaller,
it's
but
lit.
it's more bulkier. So generally speaking, if I could pick between these two on looks, I actually prefer the PlayStation without the disc drive, so the digital.
Exactly, he prefers the PlayStation without Xbox, bro. Like, it's not even a question, bro. PS5 is way better than Xbox. I'm not even about to sit here and have a whole conversation of why PS5 is better than Xbox. Like, that would be like a 30-minute video. I could say so much stuff about how bad Xbox is, but
Version. But if it was to pick between the two with the disc drive, I would go with the Xbox. It's just a more kind of slick design. It looks a lot nicer. It really does kind of go quite well. Now, the really good thing about the PlayStation, in my opinion, is
hold on. Okay, y'all, we back.
lighting. I love that design. Just imagine seeing that in the corner of your room or something. It kind of looks a bit like a PC, but it gives it that really unique design and
PS5
unique
is nice,
feel.
no cap.
Now, again, I am an Xbox player and have played an Xbox for a very long time, and I've also owned
Bro, yeah,
PlayStation.
Xbox player, bro, you're already doing bad. Like, you're already doing bad. Like, I thought you was Team PS5, bro. Like, come on. You're an Xbox player? Like, Xbox is not better than PS5. Like, again, if you're an Xbox, suck my dick. Simple as that. I don't care if I get money off this video, bro. I really don't care. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's Team PS5. Like, say it in the comments. Team PS5. Xbox Series K. XK. PS5. Xbox Series XK.
My opinion on both of these consoles is just perfectly flat, so that's what I'm going to go through with the rest of the stats as we go through. But let me know in the comments, guys, which one you prefer on looks only, PlayStation or Xbox. I'd like to know. Let's try and not cause a console war in the comments, please, because that's not the aim of this video. The aim is to educate you on which one you personally prefer. Now, some general topics I want to talk about is obviously the specs. There's actually some surprising stuff in the specifications, which gives each console its own advantage, and we're going to get into that more towards the end. The most obvious things when picking a next-gen console comes down to the actual games that are on the console, the looks of the console, the price of the console, and obviously, do you need a disk drive or not? So we're going to address them topics really quickly, starting with the games on the console. So we have numerous exclusive titles coming to both the PlayStation and Xbox side of the next-gen consoles. Starting with the PlayStation side, we have a brand new Ratchet & Clank game, a brand new Spider-Man game, supposedly, anyway, we're not 100% sure if it's going to be a DLC or not, and we also have a very classic game, which a lot of people will enjoy, which is obviously Sackboy's Adventures. This is obviously going to be really, really cool, a big adventure, and it's going to be really awesome to actually see him back, obviously, from the classic little big planet.
Having difficulty streaming your movie is annoying. Step up with Boost Mobile and stream all you want. Or
anyone wondering about that. Then on the Xbox side, we have all of these titles on screen with the most...
Not getting any. Not getting any of them,
Gears Tactics is already out on Windows 10, and a few others on there as well. So the most interesting thing about the Xbox side of stuff, though, which does worry me a little bit, is the actual Windows 10 exclusive. Because obviously, if you own a Windows computer, or just a PC in general, you can play a lot of the Windows 10 games, which is interesting because Halo Infinite is actually confirmed in the YouTube description to be a Windows 10 exclusive as well, which means it could be PC playable. Obviously, that would make a huge game change for the PlayStation 5 and give it a little bit of an advantage there on the games, because you could still buy a PlayStation and still play Halo Infinite. You have obviously a Windows 10 exclusive PC type thing to run them sort of games. So that's really awesome, obviously, for PlayStation users out there as well, if you're a Halo fan or if you're just generally considering getting the PlayStation. So Xbox definitely need to bump up their ideas. So what else do we have? Like I said, obviously the looks of the console is key. I gave you my opinion earlier on, saying that the PlayStation looks better without the disc drive, but if you had a disc drive, you'd get the Xbox side of stuff, and that leads on to obviously the disc drive topic. Is that a major concern for you? Because price is also involved with that. Generally speaking, guys, for those that don't already know, if you have a disc version of the game, it's a lot cheaper than the digital version. Again, you can game share on Xbox. I'm not too sure about PlayStation. I don't know if that's an actual thing, which could technically cut the price of the game down by half. But with a disc, you can share it with your friends. So it's an interesting topic there. When the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 were announced, I know a lot of people were talking about disc usage, and everyone was complaining about the Xbox One kind of removing the disc and not having that sort of vibe going. And there was a lot of controversy around it. I can't remember the exact story, but it really hit Xbox hard. Quick side note regarding that controversy we saw, this clearly hit Xbox really hard, because you can clearly see overall PlayStation 4 outsold Xbox by miles, and same with Nintendo Switch. Does that mean more people are going to move over if the Xbox has slightly better specs than the PlayStation, which we'll get into in a minute? Does it or does it not? I'll explain in a second. I generally don't think people will be switching. Most PlayStation 4 users will probably stay with the PlayStation 5. We've obviously got the controller to talk about as well. We'll get into that. But the last topic I want to mention before we get into the specs is obviously the price of the console. So the estimated price currently is $500 for both of these consoles. Generally speaking, from the specs, which we're going to get into, the price of the PlayStation should be slightly more because the parts are a little bit more expensive from what I can tell. Then obviously on the Xbox side, it should be a little bit cheaper. Are Microsoft going to reduce the price to try and beat PlayStation? I don't think they would, which means you would have to pick between these two, obviously, in the shop. Now there's also rumours for a smaller version of the Xbox Series X, being the Xbox Series S.
Look at this. And y'all want to actually consider getting that. Bro, I would never get it. I'm not even trying to cut. I know, like, people be saying Xbox niggas is gay, bro. It's not even the reason why I wouldn't get this console. Just PS5 looks better to begin with. It looks better. It looks better. But there's gonna be that one time in life where Xbox is gonna be later than PS5, PS, like the PlayStation company. It's gonna be that one point in time, and then people, like, I could see already people dick riding already to Xbox, and then, you know what I'm saying? But let's continue the reaction.
The picture of that, for those wondering, that would definitely be cheaper, and that would definitely undercut PlayStation and allow for a little bit more extra sales right there, because the specification in that isn't confirmed. It's not confirmed at all, but it's rumoured, and if that was real, the specs would be a lot lower inside of that console. Generally speaking, the PlayStation console and the Xbox are really cheap for $500. I do generally think they're going to be more expensive than that, because the amount of parts in these, if you were to build a PC with these parts, you'd be looking at $1,000 plus. So definitely something really interesting to consider right there. So here is a picture of all of the specs for both of the consoles right here. Now I'm no spec nerd, but I've been researching a lot. I've spent about 6 to 7 hours researching this video, and it's quite obvious that the Xbox does have the advantage overall with the specification. Now, generally speaking, the only reason it has the advantage is because it's got a more powerful GPU. Now, to explain this a little bit further, basically the difference between these is generally when there's more workload, the Xbox is going to be able to cope a little bit better than the PlayStation 5 because it's got 3.8 gigahertz, whereas the PlayStation has got 3.5. This also takes into account cross-platform games. If we're playing a cross-platform game on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, you can expect it to drop down potentially to 3.3 gigahertz on the PlayStation 5, with the Xbox staying roughly at 3.6 or even 3.8, then you can expect a 15% difference in performance right there. Very unnoticeable though, because the GPU will kind of counter that, and it will be almost so hard to notice. It would have to be an extreme workload on the console and almost impossible for anybody to notice, but there will be people testing, and it does come down to how the developers develop their game as well. Then also a little noticeable thing as well, which will kind of make
consider reaction. 2K, listen, y'all been seeing the stuff with 2K21, right? They've been talking like they've been releasing these trailers and all of that, acting like, bro, I swear on everything, bro. If this game is not good, like the way 2K is advertising the game, and you see how they be bleeping stuff out, and they sent like what's that YouTuber named Troy? Then they sent him a message, like a card. It was a box full of stuff, and sent a card, right? They was telling us they was like Xing stuff out like it's like a card, but they put lines on it so we could we was not able to see, but some guy was able to find out like what it was and shit. It was crazy. It was but I'm telling you, 2K, if 2K21 is not good, like I'm gonna, bro, Ronnie 2K, it's gonna be on site with you, bro. Hands on site with you, bro. On God.
The PS5 a little bit better on the CPU side of stuff is Xbox have confirmed most of their new games coming to the Xbox Series X are also coming out on the current Xbox One X, which would mean that their specs for the CPU will be a little bit lower because they're kind of cross-platform games, whereas the PlayStation 5 exclusives are solely for the PlayStation 5, and they would be taking their maximum capacity for that CPU, meaning they would have a better performance overall. So that's just because they're newer titles built for that. But if Xbox goes ahead and build titles just for the Xbox Series X and not for other cross-platform games, they potentially will be greater than PlayStation 5 games. Then it does come down obviously to the GPU. You can see the stats for that right there. Again, Xbox does outperform the PlayStation in the GPU side of stuff. Tables start to turn towards the PlayStation as we get into the actual memory side of stuff. So you can see they're both using 16 gigs of GDDR6 there, which is really nice. Then the memory bandwidth is very similar as well. For those wondering, that's 10 gigabytes there on the GPU and 6 gigabytes on the CPU, and PlayStation just uses it across the whole console.
Like, you know how we're having a PS5 and Xbox Series X? Like, y'all remember 2K14, right? Like, 2K14 is the best game of all time. Like, everything about that game was fire. Like, Path to Greatness was fire. Was My Career fire? I don't really remember, but what else? The soundtrack, that's the best soundtrack they ever had. Like, those songs like are still in my head. Like, that's how good that soundtrack was. What else was good about the game? LeBron was obviously the cover, and that's when he was on the Heat. It was just fire. Everything was fire, and then the graphics. So, will 2K21 be on 2K14's level? Probably not. But do I want it to be on 2K14's level? Yes, I do. I want every 2K game to be nice. Like, no cap. But that soundtrack was so fire. Like, the songs were not even like songs I listen to right now, but like they're decent, you know. And it went with the game. Well, like, the more you play the game soundtrack, like, it got to you. You listen to it every day. The show was decent. No cap.
Again, that doesn't really affect too much at all because it kind of equals out at the same score anyway if you work out the average of it. So you've got nothing really to worry about right there. But what the most noticeable
I'm not getting your
thing is when it comes down to this SSD side of stuff. So you can see that the PlayStation's SSD is slightly lower than the Xbox on storage for your console, but what's really interesting about this is the speeds. Look at the PlayStation speeds. They are so much faster than the Xbox speeds right there. They're coming in at 5.5 raw and to 9 compressed, whereas the Xbox comes in at 2.4 and 4.8 compressed. This means that PlayStation could actually render in load times and assets, etc. a lot more faster. It includes loading screens. That common clip we're seeing with people changing between games on Xbox being about 4 seconds instantly from one game to another, we could potentially see it even faster on the PlayStation side. That's maybe why GTA 5 was used on their launch trailer on their live side stuff, because even the render times or the load times on that could be extremely faster than they are on the Xbox side of stuff. So that's a very interesting point there, and it kind of gives PlayStation the advantage on that side. So you've got potentially better processing speeds on the Xbox One X, but faster load times on the PlayStation 5. Obviously, better processing speeds could mean potential better frame rates, etc. But on the PlayStation, then faster render speeds could generally mean you could load into the game faster. So it's going to be almost impossible to notice the difference between these. Just note as well, both consoles are also going to be running at 120 Hz, which is going to be 120 frame rate FPS.
Can't wait for the
about that. However, when looking into this a little bit more, we can potentially see that the Xbox could outperform the PlayStation on the GPUs. 5% to 30% performance boost over the PlayStation, which would be really interesting. Also, it generally looks like the Xbox itself is going to be more suitable for the current 9th gen resolution standard. This is due to its split on memory, because obviously that's going to help on that side of stuff. This is obviously with the split on the 16 gigs of GDDR6, as I mentioned earlier. So some interesting points to look at right there. But just generally thinking, this side of stuff, the PlayStation definitely looks more future-proof than the Xbox, just because of their faster hard drive speeds with the render times, etc. And you are able to actually add in extra slots for the NVMe SSD slots. They are 100% going to be really expensive compared to the Xbox expansion card, because the technology used in these SSDs, which are on the PlayStation side, is a little bit more advanced than the Xbox side. That's why you're getting them faster load speeds, etc. But generally speaking, it all comes down to developers. For example, look at Epic Games showing off their Unreal Engine 5. They've been showing that off recently, and it looks amazing, and that's on the PlayStation side. Generally, we are not going to be able to tell the difference between these two consoles. It's going to be very, very difficult, and it really will come down to how developers work their game and work their code around each game. Now, moving on to the controller side of stuff, we can clearly tell the PlayStation does have the advantage here because of the brand new haptic feedback, which is giving brand new vibrations on the controller for different surfaces. For example, if you're driving a car over some rubble, the vibration may change entirely, much more than the standard vibration we currently get. Adaptive triggers will also give different tensions. For if you're firing a bow, for example, it'll be a lot harder to pull the trigger back than if you were driving a car. Then also we have the motion sensors as well put into the control, which is really unique as well. This could potentially also be used for car games, potentially, or just general motion with the control. We also have the pad in the center, which I assume will be touch screen again type thing, like it is on the PlayStation 4. I guess that will be the same on this controller. When it comes to the Xbox controller, I generally think that in general, it's more comfortable, in my opinion. I prefer holding the Xbox controller. I know it's kind of annoying because you've got the sticks are a little bit slanted. You've got the one on the right and the one on the left, but it definitely feels more comfortable. If I'm going to pick between them, I'm going to pick the Xbox controller. But I do want to try out the brand new features on the PlayStation controller. It definitely seems very interesting and could make people sway towards that if they want to kind of get a unique controller experience. Most people may use third-party controllers though, like Scuffs, etc. I don't see them using the features that the adaptive controller has for the brand new PlayStation 5. So if you are someone that uses paddles on the back, maybe PlayStation will bring out an exclusive one. I don't think the other brands that do controllers will actually have their unique features in straight away, in my opinion, anyway. Then again, developers have to choose to actually apply them features to their game. Some development teams may not do it, and they may just leave it the same as it is on Xbox. So you may not even get them unique features anyway. You may only get them on PlayStation 5 exclusives. So the controller for the Xbox itself hasn't changed at all, really, other than it's kind of changed a little bit of a shape, different look, a little bit. But the most unique thing about this controller is it can be used on any previous Xbox.
Look at that. Look at the controller, bro. Bro, no, bro. It's not even a vibe. Like, it's not even a vibe, bro. PS5. It's PS5, okay? PS5.
One consoles. So that's quite cool. And also for those wondering, you can use previous Xbox One controllers on the brand new Xbox Series X. So that's really interesting right there. Now, coming to my conclusion, I just want to thank everyone who's made it to this point in the video. If you have, comment down below at the end with a little smiley face. You can make it unique, but yeah, just comment that down below, and I'll be going through the comments to see who've made it to this point. And if you haven't subscribed, I'll be keeping you up to date with all gaming news regarding Xbox versus PlayStation as we lead up to their launch in summer. Okay, my conclusion. Which console will I be picking? Great question. So I'm coming at this from 2 points of views. One from someone that doesn't own Xbox or PlayStation, and my own personal opinion. So let's start with the first point of view. This is someone that doesn't own either of these consoles, and you've got to consider which one to buy. First off is price. If your budget is much more bigger, then you probably want to go with the one without the disc drive on the PlayStation side of stuff. It looks amazing, it's really cool, and you get the Spider-Man exclusive. The specs are pretty good. As we know from the charts which I've just gone over, in theory, the Xbox should slightly outperform.
Bro, don't fuck around, bro. Get the PS5, bro. Why would you want the Xbox Series X? Again, it looks like a mini fridge on some real shit. Like, come on, come to the PS5, gang. You know, we do it better. Xbox Series X is dirt.
PlayStation with its CPU and GPU on performance, meaning it could get a higher frame rate in very, very difficult situations where the consoles are struggling to process the situation. However, as we know, the PlayStation has a better SSD, which would mean the PlayStation should actually have faster load times and faster load times between each app if you've got multiple games open. One thing I didn't consider in today's review was the interface of each console. We don't exactly know how the interface is going to look 100% on the consoles, so that's why I didn't consider it. But like I was saying, I would probably go for the PlayStation with no disc drive if I was thinking one right now from scratch and never have played either.
Yeah, he's basically saying, fuck Xbox. It's kind of what he's really saying. Like, let me say his words, what he's really trying to explain. He's like, Xbox is fucking dirt, it's trash. No, that's what he's basically saying. But he doesn't, he doesn't want to say that. I agree with
now, because I'm a huge fan of the Halo series, and I currently own the Xbox One X, and all my account and processes over there, I'm going to stick with the Xbox personally, just because of that. It just works better for me, and there is a slight better chance of getting a better performance on the Xbox regarding frame rate. Other than that, we know between these two consoles, they will consistently battle out in the future, and they will keep consistently overtaking each other. Just like we saw with the current gen we're on, we saw the PlayStation Pro come out, and then the Xbox followed with the Xbox One X to overtake that and become the current most powerful console. Again, we don't 100% know how the specs are going to perform regarding the SSD drive. If it's going to make a huge difference, Xbox definitely will fight back with a better console, slightly better than PlayStation. And if the CPU is going to work better on the Xbox side, PlayStation might fight.
Okay, guys, so basically that was PS5 versus Xbox Series X. Everything you know, specs, price, exclusive games. I'm getting PS5, no doubt. It's not even a question. I'm getting PS5. Xbox Series X is dirt. Looks like a mini fridge in there. PS5 is not a Wi-Fi router, but this is your boy. We're trying to get a road to 1K, so like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications, and comment what type of content y'all want to see on the channel. It's your boy Dripriding, and I'm out. Boom.